we learn more updates as to what remains to be the big picture after this crucial meeting. After the successful meeting between President Donald Trump and President Putin, US President Donald Trump signaled that he would hold off on imposing more sanctions or other severe consequences against Russia. He stated, because of what happened today, I think I don't have to think about that now. I may have to think about it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something, but we don't have to think about that right now, unquote. Earlier to this meeting, President Donald Trump has threatened to impose harsh sanctions on Russia earlier this month. Now, Manan Dwivedi continues to also be with us. Donald Trump has made it clear, Mr. Dwivedi, that after the crucial meeting, he is going to ease a bit on the sanctions bit. Signaled also that it is a cooling period, what appears to be, for the United States to think of imposing more aggressive tariffs on the Russia as well. As Kremlin also said that Putin is going to be, in fact, as Kremlin also made it very clear that during the meeting, the next summit, the next part of the meeting could also be held in Moscow. What it seemed from that point of view is that it has been on a progressive trajectory. Your thoughts, Mr. Dwivedi?
I would like to contend here that I think a lot of positives, as I had said before, need to be taken out of the talks. And I personally feel that it is a kind of a very, very direct and a bland and blind, a pressure tactic, which has been employed by President Donald Trump on Russia, as if wherein he has gone on to say, as a kind of a parting remark after the summitry, that he will think over it and he will utilize the next 2-3 weeks to slap new sanctions on Russia. So I think this has become now the normal practice. It has become the new normal, wherein President Donald Trump talks to a head of state and goes ahead and pressurizes him after the talks are over, and then the receptacle country, the other co-partner country, has to take ameliorative measures, and he has to come in later on, so that some sort of a common ground, diplomatic common ground, can be reached between America and that country. I think Putin is much better off, and Putin won't mind the sanctions, because heavy banking sanctions, heavy monetary and financial sanctions, and even sanctions on the financial institutions of Russia were heaped by US and by EU and NATO when the war began in February 2022. And this weakened the Russian economy to a great deal. But because of the inner tensile strength, because of the inner girth and potential, and the strength of the Russian domestic economy, they were able to survive and prosper after that. And anyway, we have to see that this has become the new normal as far as President Donald Trump is concerned. And I would like to bring in India here. India has to do a very difficult exercise now. India is doing something which we call as a deft tightrope walk, where we have to be goody-goody with President Donald Trump also, and we have to be true blue allies with Moscow also, because whenever things have gotten dirty and difficult for India, as far as the Kashmir in UNSC is concerned, Russia has been our ally. And India has been able to wade through this tariff-giri, as I would like to call it, or this tariff diplomacy, which has become a new hallmark of President Donald Trump's policy. But I personally feel that in diplomacy has to be utilized as a kind of an exercise to avert and deter war. And one should never forget, ma'am, that in international relations, there are no permanent friends or no permanent enemies. So the morality argument that Donald Trump is acting very high-handedly and in a kind of a very imbalanced and unpredictable manner, I think it can be relegated to the back burner, because whatever is the American pecuniary interest, they will follow it. And President Trump has already his eyes on the critical minerals and on the natural resources in Zelensky. So definitively President Trump will take the side of Zelensky, but as an international interlocutor, I think President Trump should have the onus of responsibility, but America should be reprimanded that with great power comes great responsibility. And that is what President Trump has to do with a bit more of sanity and balance of mind. That is how I would look at it.
Well, all right, Mr. Dwivedi, I appreciate your detailed comments and how precisely you have looked into this entire optics of the meeting.
For more such videos, subscribe to the Newsx YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.